There's a lot of people who are afraid. Is it possible the Lord is not their refuge and their fortress, and their trust is not in Him? Brothers, we don't want you to be ignorant about those who fall asleep, the ones who die.
What really happened to the cast of Mountain Men? From sudden disappearances and tragic deaths to rumors of jail time and secret new lives, there's far more to their stories than what we saw on screen. Why did some walk away from the spotlight? Who's still living off-grid and who vanished without a trace?
We believe that Jesus died and rose again, so we believe that God will bring with Jesus those who have fallen asleep in Him. When Jesus returns, the Bible says it over and over and over.
Eustace Conway is one of the most recognized faces from the reality TV series Mountain Men. Known for his rugged lifestyle and deep commitment to nature, Eustace has built a reputation over the years as a true modern-day woodsman. But beyond the television portrayal, there's a fascinating story of personal transformation and evolving ideas about what it means to live off the land in the modern world.
Human beings, they want the sun shining every day and a life with no storms.
In 1987, at the age of just 26, Eustace bought a piece of land in the Blue Ridge Mountains of North Carolina. It was 107 acres of untouched forest, which he later named Turtle Island Preserve. His vision at the time was simple yet ambitious. He imagined Turtle Island as a small patch of preserved nature, surrounded by a modern world that was increasingly losing touch with the earth. From high on the nearby ridges, visitors would be able to look down and see what he hoped would be a pristine bowl of land, completely natural and untouched by the chaos of industrial society. Eustace's passion for primitive living began long before he bought the land. He left his suburban home at the age of 17 and moved into the woods, determined to live as close to nature as possible. Over the years, he developed a wide range of survival skills, from hunting and building shelters to using tools made from stone and bone. His lifestyle, deeply rooted in ancient traditions, wasn't just a personal choice. It became a message. He wanted to show that humans could live in harmony with nature, using only what was needed and wasting nothing. For a long time, Eustace lived exactly like that. He wore buckskins instead of jeans, cooked over open fires, and built his home by hand using materials from the forest. He taught these same skills to anyone willing to learn, including interns and students who visited Turtle Island Preserve. His mission was about more than survival. It was about education, awareness, and respect for the natural world. But as time passed, even someone as committed as Eustace had to adapt. Today, visitors to Turtle Island might be surprised to hear the buzz of a chainsaw or see a truck parked near one of the cabins. The man once known for his homemade moccasins is now just as likely to wear jeans and a t-shirt. While some traditionalists might see this as compromising the original vision, Eustace sees it differently. For him, evolution has always been a part of the journey. The changes reflect not just personal growth but practical realities. Managing a preserve, hosting visitors, and educating the public all require some level of modern infrastructure. Eustace hasn't abandoned his core values. He's simply found a way to balance them with the needs of the present. And importantly, he's managed to continue spreading his message through a broader platform. That platform came in the form of reality TV. Eustace joined Mountain Men when it first aired on the History Channel in 2012. The show follows individuals who have chosen to live far from modern society, often in extremely remote locations. These are people who depend on their survival skills and deep knowledge of nature to get through harsh winters, food shortages, and unpredictable challenges. Eustace quickly became one of the standout characters on the show. His calm demeanor, encyclopedic knowledge of primitive skills, and strong sense of purpose made him a favorite among viewers. But while the show brought him fame, it also opened up his lifestyle to public scrutiny. Some fans admired his dedication, while others questioned the authenticity of the off-grid label, especially as cameras and crews became a regular part of life at Turtle Island. Still, it's important to recognize that Mountain Men never claimed to be a documentary in the traditional sense. It's a reality series with an emphasis on storytelling and character development. In that context, Eustace's story is no less powerful. He remains a figure who has lived closer to nature than most of us ever will, and his life continues to inspire people looking for alternatives to the fast-paced, digitally connected world we live in. Financially, his participation in the show has also changed things. According to available information, Eustace earns an estimated salary of around $130,000 per year from his work on Mountain Men. His total net worth is reported to be approximately $200,000. These figures, while not massive by celebrity standards, reflect a significant shift from the subsistence lifestyle he once led. It's another example of how his life has evolved, not away from his principles, but in ways that allow him to maintain and even expand his work. Visitors to Turtle Island still get to experience what Eustace originally set out to create: a space where people can reconnect with the natural world, learn traditional skills, and gain a deeper understanding of sustainability. But now they might also learn how to repair a chainsaw or salvage usable items from a dumpster, skills that are arguably just as important in today's world. In fact, one of the things interns have noted in recent years is that learning how to scavenge and repurpose discarded materials has become a core part of the experience. It may not be what people expect from a primitive lifestyle, but it reflects a broader philosophy: making the most of what's available and finding value in things others have thrown away. The reality of Eustace Conway's life is more complex than the romantic image of a man living alone in the woods. It's a mix of tradition and adaptation, rooted in a deep love for nature, but open to the realities of the modern world. Whether he's tracking a deer through the forest or speaking to a group of students about land conservation, his core message remains the same. We need to live with greater awareness, greater responsibility, and greater respect for the planet. As Mountain Men continues to reach audiences around the world, Eustace's story offers something valuable. It's not about rejecting technology or going completely off-grid. It's about finding balance, about understanding that progress doesn't have to mean destruction, and that sometimes the best way forward is to look back and remember where we came from. Eustace Conway might not live exactly as he did in his 20s, and Turtle Island might not be the untouched bowl of nature he once imagined. But in many ways, his dream is still alive. It just looks a little different now. And maybe that's the most important lesson of all, that living in harmony with nature isn't about staying frozen in time. It's about growing with the seasons, adapting to the landscape, and holding on to your values, even as the world changes around you. Whether you're a longtime fan of the show or just learning about Eustace for the first time, his journey is a reminder that there's still space in this world for people who walk a different path. And perhaps more importantly, it shows us that even in a world full of noise and distractions, there's still value in simplicity, purpose, and a strong connection to the earth beneath our feet. Preston James Roberts, born on July 17, 1957, was widely known as a gentle, creative spirit whose life touched many through education, craft, and wilderness living. He became better known to fans of Mountain Men through his collaboration with Eustace Conway, co-founding Turtle Island Preserve and appearing on the show for 6 seasons. That partnership was rooted in decades of friendship and shared vision, and the loss of Preston on July 24, 2017 from liver cancer was felt deeply by many. His passing had a profound impact, not just on the series but on the Turtle Island community and countless individuals inspired by his teaching and artistry. Preston's death was sudden. Reports note that he had been diagnosed with an inoperable tumor on his liver, which severely hampered his blood and oxygen flow, leading to a rapid decline over the course of 3 weeks. He reportedly had been teaching at a boys' camp just weeks earlier before his health deteriorated dramatically. When Eustace announced his death on Facebook, he spoke of losing his best friend of 35 years and described Preston as someone whose talent, kindness, and humility were unsurpassed. In the days following Preston's passing, friends, family, colleagues, and fans rallied to support his family. A memorial scholarship fund in his name was created, and a GoFundMe campaign raised over $110,000 to assist with medical bills, a memorial service, and even family home repairs such as a leaky roof. The outpouring of support reflected not just grief, but a deep respect for Preston's life as teacher, builder, mentor, and artist. Preston's professional life extended well beyond wilderness living. He had spent 25 years as an art teacher in Wilkes County Public Schools, twice earning the recognition of Teacher of the Year before retiring in 2010. He graduated with a degree in art education from Appalachian State University and earlier attended Atlantic Christian College. His artistic background informed his approach to craftsmanship at Turtle Island, where he built structures, carved tools, and taught knife making at summer camps and workshops. Within the world of mountain men and Turtle Island Preserve, Preston was instrumental in melding craft, survival skills, and education into a holistic experience. During the only 6 seasons he appeared on the show, he contributed significantly, often raising funds for the preserve by auctioning blades he made for visitors and camp programs. In fact, his knife-making skills became a way to support Turtle Island's scholarship program, drawing on his connection to both wilderness craft and artistic tradition. In tributes following his death, Turtle Island staff and mentors described Preston with words like practical, creative, graceful, and dedicated. One memorial described him as someone who could build a beautiful and functional bridge over any abyss, symbolizing both his literal carpentry and the metaphorical ways he connected people to the land and to each other. His spirit was said to be infused into every structure and ceremony at the preserve. The medicine wheel on Morning Watch Hill, the teaching huts, the carved cabins, and the silent, misty mountain air itself. Preston was laid to rest on Morning Watch Hill near the heart of camp, in a ceremony attended by family and community members. His wife Kathleen and their 3 sons continued to carry forward his work and the legacy of Turtle Island, guided by the scholarship fund and projects he had dreamed of. Site Turn Zero Search 2 Turn Zero Search 23. The story of Preston Roberts is one of placemaking and community. He helped establish Turtle Island Preserve as an educational nonprofit offering experiential programs rooted in traditional skills, from hide tanning to carving, plant medicine to tool forging. Each building at Turtle Island was handcrafted, each workshop reflecting his dedication to teaching others how to live more mindfully and sustainably with the land. Through his appearance on Mountain Men, Preston became a face of that message, offering viewers a glimpse of a life that combined artistry, wilderness living, and environmental stewardship. His contribution wasn't merely survival technique, it was about connecting creativity, culture, and community. Jason Hawk's story is more recent but echoes many of Preston's themes: craftsmanship, family, education, and ultimately an untimely death from cancer. Jason, born around June 1975 in Fort Smith, Arkansas, was known to audiences as a master bladesmith and primitive skills educator, featured on the show between roughly 2016 and 2021. He appeared alongside his wife Mary and their children, teaching blacksmithing, forging blades, and combining traditional craftsmanship with wild living in the Ozarks. On January 28, 2025, Jason passed away at the age of 49, surrounded by family in his Arkansas home, after a long and courageous battle with cancer that had spread to his lungs, liver, lymph nodes, and abdomen. His health decline had started in late 2020, and by 2022, he underwent aggressive chemotherapy and surgery. Despite these efforts, the cancer returned, presenting further complications. In early 2024, he was hospitalized with dehydration and dizziness. Subsequent scans revealed the disease had advanced significantly, including blockage in his lower intestine. Surgery was performed to bypass the obstruction, but the cancer continued to spread in his body. Mary, his wife, shared updates on social media that detailed the struggle and how they hoped for renewed strength following surgery. The family described Jason as a devoted husband and father, a skilled craftsman and teacher, someone whose greatest joy was sharing traditional skills with his children and others. Even in his final months, he remained at home in the Ozark wilderness, surrounded by his family and the land he loved. Jason's presence on Mountain Men highlighted an intergenerational approach to primitive living, a father teaching children essential skills, forging knives, building tools, and respecting the self-sufficient path. His craft, blades forged at Outlaw Forge Works, became a symbol of resilience and tradition. Fans appreciated not only his technical ability, but his humility, quiet humor, and strength of purpose. Following his death, online tributes emphasized how much he was loved as a teacher and woodsman who lived intentionally. He leaves behind 3 children and a wife, as well as a lasting influence through his work and the lessons he shared. His life resonated with those who value simple living, care for the land, and the craft of making useful, beautiful things with one's own hands. Just as with Preston, the passing of Jason Hawk marked the end of an era in mountain men, at least for his chapter. While Preston's connection was rooted in early seasons and Turtle Island, Jason's presence brought together family life, teaching, and primitive arts in the mid to later seasons of the series. In both cases, the individuals left legacies beyond TV. They shaped places, built communities, and inspired people toward more grounded ways of living. Both stories illustrate how life on Mountain Men is not just survival for TV, it is deeply intertwined with teaching, craft, family, and connection. Preston Roberts brought art education, sculpture, and mentoring into camp traditions. Jason Hawk brought blacksmithing, family work, and authentic living into public view. Together, their passing underscores the human cost of living physically demanding lives, but also highlights the generosity of spirit and shared passion that their communities remember and carry on. Their stories invite reflection on how traditional skills and intentional living matter in a world that often feels increasingly detached from the earth and its rhythms. As viewers move into later parts of this video series, the threads formed by Preston's creativity and Jason's craftsmanship weave into a larger pattern. The Mountain Men ethos is not just about surviving off-grid, but about teaching, inspiring, and honoring the land, and the people who choose to live in connection with it. Eustace Conway continues to be one of the most recognizable figures on Mountain Men, but behind the calm and collected persona lies a complex story involving property disputes and legal challenges. In 2012, for example, Turtle Island Preserve, his 1,000-acre site in the Blue Ridge Mountains, was forced to close to the public after nearby authorities determined that buildings on the property violated state building and health codes. Conway's vision of a primitive living space clashed with regulatory expectations, and the preserve was ordered to cease public access as a result. This closure did not mark the end of the controversy. While working toward a resolution with the North Carolina Building Code Council in mid-December 2012, Conway was arrested on December 13th for second-degree trespassing. He was accused of entering neighboring property after being asked to stay away. According to reports, the neighbor Margaret Palms alleged that Conway tied her gate shut, affixed posters to her fences and mailbox, placed wooden barriers, and prevented her from leaving her own land. The formal charge was serious: unlawfully and willfully entering private property. He was served a warrant at around 4:11 p.m. by a deputy from the Watauga County Sheriff's Office and taken before a magistrate. He was released later the same day on a written promise to appear in court on January 24, 2013, with specific instructions not to threaten or harass Ms. Palms. Ultimately, however, the trespassing charge was dismissed on April 30, 2013, due to insufficient evidence. The legal case did not proceed further, and no conviction followed. Meanwhile, public debate continued over Conway's approach and the nature of Turtle Island. Some supporters saw the ordeal as an unjust clash between primitive living ideals and bureaucratic regulation, while critics described his style as controlling and authoritarian, especially regarding how decisions were made and who was allowed to stay at the preserve. Amid the controversy, state legislators stepped in. House Bill 774 proposed an exemption for primitive structures from traditional building code standards, and in 2013, both the North Carolina House and Senate voted unanimously in favor. Governor Pat McCrory then signed the bill into law on June 12, 2013, effectively protecting Turtle Island-style structures moving forward. The episode earned coverage on national platforms, including a Fox News special titled War on the Little Guy, hosted by John Stossel, framing Conway as a modern embodiment of small-scale resistance against institutional rigidity. The legal resolution and the new law allowed Turtle Island Preserve to reopen, but the incident left a lasting mark on Conway's public image. Turning to another cast member, Tom Orr offers a different kind of story. A former rodeo cowboy turned mountain survivalist, Tom lived with his wife Nancy near the Yaak River in Montana. He was one of the original cast members, appearing in all 8 seasons of Mountain Men and gaining admiration as an accomplished tanner of animal pelts and maker of rustic moccasins and crafts using Native American techniques. For many years, there were rumors online that Tom had passed away. These claims proved false. In December 2024, his sister-in-law Connie Orr confirmed that he was very much alive. having recently visited her house and celebrated his 81st birthday. She described how he had gone out to check his trap line in the Yak Valley, as he has for decades, and that his snowmobile was broken down, so he was making the trek on foot. This update echoed posts from Tom Orr fan groups online, which have continued to share sightings and celebrations in his honor. He remains a living emblem of rugged, traditional mountain life. Over time, Tom faced health challenges. In season 11 of Mountain Men, viewers saw him experience shortness of breath and fluid buildup in his lungs, attributed to heart issues. These symptoms evidently impacted his ability to live far off-grid, and eventually he and Nancy decided to leave their remote Montana cabin and move to Florida in search of a more manageable lifestyle in later life. The move marked the end of an era. Tom and Nancy lived in the log cabin they had built over 40 years ago before transitioning to a different lifestyle in Florida. Though they left the remote mountain region, their legacy remained. They had embodied an old-school way of life, light on modern comforts and heavy on tradition, craftsmanship, and family. Speculation about Tom's death gradually subsided, replaced by respect for his pioneering presence and longevity. He was widely regarded as a beloved figure, quiet, humble, skilled, and deeply connected to the land. In terms of financial figures, various sources estimate net worths for different cast members. Tom Orr's net worth is reported at around $250,000, built from sales of moccasins, antler-handled knives, and primitive crafts, long before his television career. After joining Mountain Men, his public profile boosted both craftsmanship demand and recognition. Eustace Conway's net worth is also estimated at approximately $200,000, matched by his annual income from the show, which some sources suggest is around $130,000 per year. These modest figures stand in contrast to typical reality TV fame, but they reflect his continued focus on education, land stewardship, and sustainable living over celebrity or financial gain. Another cast member often mentioned in this context is Rich Lewis, who hunted mountain lions in Montana. He is sometimes reported to have a net worth of $300,000, largely built from contracts with ranchers, guiding work, and show appearances. What emerges from these stories is a narrative of genuine people living intentional lives under public observation. Eustace Conway and Tom Orr are not scripted characters. They are individuals who made deliberate choices about how to live. Their lives intersected with Mountain Men, bringing wider attention to their ways of living, their struggles, and their philosophies. The legal challenges, rumors, and personal changes add layers to those portrayals, reminding viewers that living off-grid does not mean being insulated from conflict, uncertainty, or change. Eustace's battle over land rights and building codes shows that choices about primitive living can clash with institutional systems, leading to disputes that gain national notice. Tom's survival on rumors of his death only to confirm he was alive and resilient illustrates how media narratives can twist perceptions. Both lives reflect resilience, adaptation, and dedication to authenticity in the face of modern challenges. Beyond those two, other Mountain Men cast members have their own stories, but none have faced legal charges or death rumors to the extent of these. What unites the cast is their shared commitment to survival on their terms. Yet each person's path has offered a unique example. Eustace's legal ordeal and Tom's long-term health transition demonstrate that living far from society brings not just physical trials, but moral, legal, and practical complexities too. As audiences move into the next segment of this series, they will see how this wider cast includes figures like Kyle Bell, Morgan Beasley, and others who have had quieter exits or faded from public view. But for now, Eustace's confrontation with the law and Tom's survival in the wilderness spotlight serve as powerful reminders. The Mountain Men ethos is compelling not because it is easy, but because it persists in the face of real-world hurdles. Kyle Bell is a figure who brought authenticity and skill to Mountain Men, making a lasting impression alongside his young son, Ben. They joined the show in seasons 3 and 4, operating as a hunting guide team in New Mexico's Cimarron Valley. Their story blended rugged wilderness life with family-based mentorship, offering a different dynamic compared to solitary survival narratives. Kyle earned his reputation as a veteran outfitter, guiding hunts across more than 45,000 acres of private land. His expertise covered elk, deer, bear, wild turkey, and even buffalo hunts. The father-son team presented intense yet patient survival scenarios, teaching Ben everything from fire-making to tracking game and demonstrating how traditional hunting could remain ethical and sustainable. One of their most memorable on-camera moments involved getting chased off by a black bear after taking down a deer. Kyle stood his ground armed only with a single-shot rifle, then guarded the meat overnight, reflecting a high-stakes but composed approach to wilderness challenges. When the pair stepped away from the show in 2016, fans were left wondering what happened next. Kyle and Ben shifted their focus to education and business. They launched an online survival school called Survival Sense, intended to revive practical outdoor skills for today's generation, covering shelter building, navigation, firecraft, and sustainable hunting. Unfortunately, by 2025, the website had gone offline and their YouTube channel remained dormant with only the initial promotional video available. The lack of updates sparked rumors among fans, some even speculating that Kyle had died, though no official statement was ever made to support that theory. Kyle's actual status as of 2025 appears to be a quiet retreat from public life. His exact net worth is not clearly documented, but earlier reporting suggested substantial success from his outfitting business. A hunting trip could cost over $7,000, including lodging, meals, and processing of meat. One source estimated his net worth at around $3 million, though other sources cite much lower figures. Regardless, it seems clear that he built a modestly profitable enterprise grounded in self-reliance and wilderness ethics. Morgan Beasley joined Mountain Men in Season 4, living off-grid in the Alaska Range with his partner Margaret Stern. Morgan's wilderness skills are scholarly and inventive. He is a licensed bush pilot, homesteader, musician, and video creator. He emphasizes safety and resourcefulness over risk. He cut a striking figure during extended hikes and hunting missions in Alaska's rugged conditions, earning respect among fans for his determination and minimal reliance on modern conveniences. In one season, he undertook a 250-mile trek entirely on foot, avoiding vehicles and even planes. Morgan appeared on the show for 4 seasons, showcasing not only survival techniques but also a thoughtful, approachable way of life. Today, he runs a homestead in Alaska and periodically publishes videos about his life, hunting, music, and aviation. He sings and plays guitar, records songs, and posts homestead videos on his YouTube channel. He also continues flying his vintage Stinson aircraft. Sources estimate his net worth at around $300,000 as of mid-2025, a reflection of cumulative income from the show and homestead ventures. Among other cast members, Rich Lewis is sometimes cited as having a net worth of $300,000 as well, derived from hunting mountain lions in Montana's Ruby Valley and guiding services with specially trained hounds. George Michaud, a fur trapper living along the Snake River and Teton Range, has an estimated net worth of approximately $100,000. Charlie Tucker, based in Maine, may have a net worth near $500,000 built from logging and trapping. Eustace Conway and Tom Orr each bring stories rooted more in stewardship than money, with net worth estimates around $200,000. Altogether, Mountain Men first premiered on May 31, 2012, and by 2025 it had aired 13 seasons, though some listings say 12 seasons and 159 episodes, drawing viewers worldwide to the rugged realities of off-grid living. The show never promised glamour. It offered glimpses into people choosing to live outside modern comforts, subsisting through primitive skills, craftsmanship, and deep connection to place. What unites these individuals is a commitment to authenticity, learning ancient skills, navigating unpredictable weather, seeking minimal reliance on outside systems, and teaching others how to thrive in harsher environments. But they are also human. Their lives change, their health evolves, and sometimes disagreements with neighbors or government regulations arise. Rumors of death or legal trouble may swirl, but usually no drama results. The show's legacy lies in portraying survival not as spectacle but as craft, tradition, and resilience. Cast members like Preston Roberts and Jason Hawke didn't just survive, they taught, built, forged, and inspired others to think differently. Preston's art education background shaped Turtle Island Preserve's mission and infrastructure. Jason's steel forging skills and family presence illustrated how primitive arts could form both livelihood and legacy. Kyle and Ben Bell showed how tradition could pass between generations with purpose and discipline. Morgan Beasley showed a measured take on off-grid life, blending homesteading with art and aviation. Through all this, viewers absorb more than survival tips. They're exposed to philosophies about land, self-reliance, intergenerational learning, minimalism, and environmental awareness. The show often confronts legal battles, harsh seasons, physical decline, and career changes, but those challenges underscore the cost and commitment involved in living this way. By 2025, no Mountain Men cast member had faced jail time, although Eustace Conway had been arrested in 2012 on trespassing charges, which were later dismissed. Deaths among cast members so far include Preston and Jason. No others have officially died or been incarcerated. Rumors may persist, especially when individuals vanish from the public eye. Viewer engagement remains strong. Fans revisit classic episodes where Kyle and Ben face a bear threat, or where Morgan walks solo across a frozen wilderness. Knife-making demos, hide tanning, wilderness education. All of these crafts continue to inspire new learners, teachers, and outdoor enthusiasts across the globe. The emotional impact of these stories often emerges after individuals leave or pass away. A scholarship fund carries Preston's name, offering support to young campers at Turtle Island Preserve. Jason Hawk's blades live on, forged in his memory, and his family continues to share his skills and teachings. Morgan's homestead videos remind viewers of the creative freedom possible in remote settings. The departure of Tom Orr to Florida after decades in the Yaak Valley marks a turning point in how aging, health, and simplicity shape life choices. Mountain Men live in a unique cultural space. It is not a survival competition. It is a window into a philosophy. It suggests that a simpler life can still be relevant, honest, and instructive. It also reminds viewers that nature is indifferent, and living close to it requires humility, skill, and adaptation. As of 2025, the series continues to air, with a rotating cast of new characters adding to the legacy. But it is the early seasons, whether with Eustace and Preston building Turtle Island, or Kyle and Ben guiding hunts, or Morgan hiking across the Alaskan wilderness, that remain emblematic of the show's core essence. Their stories stand out because they were genuine, grounded in place, and shaped by choices rather than circumstance. It is perhaps fitting that the most lasting impact of Mountain Men isn't viewership or income figures. It is ideas. Ideas about living more consciously, of reclaiming age-old skills, of connecting to land, of passing values to the next generation. Whether inspired by a blade forged by Jason Hawk, a shelter built at Turtle Island, a sunset over Cimarron Valley, or a song sung from a homestead porch in Alaska, the legacy is in how those moments spark curiosity, reflection, and respect for the natural world. Ultimately, whether the show is worth the hype might depend on what you want. For those seeking daring survival moments and manufactured drama, Mountain Men may feel slow-paced or subdued. But for anyone curious about intentional living, sustainability, family-based mentorship, and wilderness craft, it remains one of the most authentic portrayals on screen. It offers a reminder that the toughest challenges often reveal the deepest values, and that living simply doesn't mean living narrowly.